find this just keeps getting simpler and simpler. And last week we had some new people here that were very fun, and a daughter and the mom. So when I ask what brings you here, the daughter says, my mom. And I asked the mom, and she says, I don't know, I'm just here. So, but afterwards, it was fun because they left together. And then like 5 minutes later, the mom comes back in and says, my daughter says she won't come back here with me because I fidget all the time, and that's not the right way for meditation. And I said, no. I said, that's not what it's about. It's not the physical stillness. Meditation is looking for your inner peace. And, if you want to do that while you're jogging or whatever, that's what the meditation is. Most people just like to sit still at times to do that. That's not required. So I said, you can come and fidget or get up and dance around the room or do somersaults or whatever you want. It's not about forcing yourself to be physically still. She's like, she didn't say it, but I just saw her face light up, and she went out of here like, yeah, I'm going to go set my daughter right now. So, but the fun thing was just the simplicity of just knowing these basics now, that it really is about just knowing our inner peace. And all the rest is just ways to trick our mind into letting us get there and stay there a little more solidly and a little longer. But there really isn't anything else going on or that can go on. We talk about healing, and that's cool. But it's still, in the end, it's to bring us to peace. Our body's at peace. We're at peace with our body. And it's like all just to end up in that place of peace. And I think it's worth repeating, as I always do, that if you make that the only goal, it also begins to eliminate all kinds of stress programs in the mind. And, it's like, what we come here to this planet for? Who knows? Everybody builds their own idea or reason of that. But very few until recently would say, well, we just come here to have a happy adventure. It's always been qualified with, like, the system, being productive. Come on now, be a good slave. I can make a profit off of you if you're productive. And for so long, we were taught and trained to value ourselves by our productivity, our value as a human, our efficiency, how good we were by some measurable standard. And all of that simply creates stress. There's no use for any of that. It does not motivate us. It seems to, out of fear sometimes. But, if you've ever picked up a new interest, like a new hobby or whatever, or a change in life comes and you're going to start a new direction, there's tons of energy in that out of passion. You don't need any fear to activate the energy of your life. But conversely, if you are willing to give up fear and find more peace, you'll actually find you have more energy, and the quality of every minute of life is so much better, rather than working all week and on Friday night just being glad you can go home and collapse because you survived another week of putting in hours. It's like finding these programs in the mind and letting them go is where this inner peace comes from. It's not a magic thing that a God or anything can bestow on us. There's times when it comes real big and you're like, like, oh yeah, I wish that would just stay permanent and I could get more of that. But the real peace comes from letting go of all the programs that say, I have to be worried, I have to be stressed out, I have to judge myself, I'm always measuring what's wrong with me, what's lacking, what could be better. And those kinds of things are what destroy the peace. And all we need to do is to begin acknowledging, no, I don't need those things. I don't have to listen to those things. I don't have to evaluate myself or anyone else on the basis of those kind of things. If you're here and you're breathing, that's it. What do you want to do with it? That it's like, that's, it's like breathing's kind of required. I don't know anyone that's been able to give that up and keep the adventure going. But beyond that, there's no have-tos here, really. And I'm trying to kind of sell this idea to begin penetrating all the webs in the brain that have all these other tense ideas of what life has to be, what life is for, what is successful, and what makes me peaceful even. It's like the brain will propose, well, I'll be peaceful if that neighbor doesn't play their music, if I get that raise so I have enough money, if I get my physical healing that some of us need. And it's all contingent on things outside of us changing. And it is nice when some of those things change. I'm not against that at all. But to put my peace out there at the mercy of everything outside of me means I don't have any say over it or any control over it. So I need to really learn my peace is up to me. It's often stated as happiness. My happiness is up to me. It's a choice. And peace and happiness are synonymous. The happy of the human sometimes fades, but we could still be very peaceful. If we are going through a challenging time, the old adrenaline type excited happy may not be happening for a while, but yet there can be a peace in us that feels like, I'm not sure how this is going, but I can feel the path is dragging me along or walking me along. And it's going right. I know that. And there's a peace in that. And that's all we know. We don't know how we're going to succeed at the end of this phase or what that success will be. But there's a peace of just knowing I'm about something I want to be about here. So that's back to realizing we're here for an adventure. And just an example of that, I came across something today, and someone complaining about loss of the traditional families again and raising kids right. The model in America of the nuclear family is just one model on this planet. It's not the right one. I don't know that it's wrong either, but it's a model. But the curious thing is all the Aboriginal cultures that we originated from around the world all use a communal model. They don't use a nuclear model. And the upside of that is all the moms in those communities aren't whacked out because they all get to take a break and just leave the kids with the community while they go take time to themselves or do what they want. And that's very hard to do in the nuclear model. There's daycare or things like that and babysitters, but imagine living in a space where you all shared basically the same ideals and ideas, and you could trust the other people to parent your children just like you do, and you're at ease with that, It's a very different model is what I'm saying, and yet it worked for thousands and thousands of years, and it still works in some cultures. So again, be willing to look at anything that's making you feel stressed out or unworthy. Like, am I being a good parent? Am I being a good employee? And you start worrying about that. Look at the model you're using to do that thinking with. Instead, just say, all right, I'm here having my adventure. Now, what do I want to do? And look at the difference in how your being and body respond to that thought. Catch the stress or the judgment and just say something like that. I'm just here for my adventure. I'm here because I want to be. And it's funny, I can't explain it, but even thinking a thought like that, voicing it makes it even more powerful. You just feel something inside kind of soften up and drop and just shift. And, oh yeah, what was I thinking, you know? We can get caught in a stress loop. Something goes wrong at work on Monday, and Friday we're still whacked out over, I don't know if I've been forgiven of that yet or if I've made up for it yet. And what we got to do is learn to catch these loops in our mind. And first, just acknowledge them. Like, yeah, I'm still whacked out about that. Yeah, I thought about it yesterday. I'm thinking about it today. Oh, well, this is my adventure. What good does that loop do me? Because if you start asking that question, your awareness arises now instead of the program. And it's like, all right, well, the program might argue, well, I'm protecting you to make sure you cover your bases and get everything right. And you can be like, well, I can just look around and see, well, what do I need to do? Oh, okay, I did that. Oh, okay, well, it's done. There's nothing more to think about. And you like give your mind permission to drop out of these loops. But just waiting for them to get done can waste so much time and burn up so much of our life energy. Just being under this constant stress that most people experience just being human. So the point of all that is that everything has to become questionable. Awakening is awareness, just being aware. And in time, we become more aware of what my mind and emotions are prompting me to think and feel and do, and to become aware and say, oh, is that what I really want to do? Rather than running the loop one more time. It might seem like that's just too simple or too easy, but it pretty much takes care of undoing any old program in our mind. It helps with healing because it can let me relax a little more. I mean, it's been fun for us with Eric. Despite what he's dealing with, the guy gets all bright and happy, and as a result, he has periods where the pain is gone. And it's like, yeah. So, yeah, it's not permanent for you, Eric, at least not yet. But at least you're enjoying and celebrating your adventure when you can. You're not commiserating with the end of life or, the disease. So, as we begin to return our memory to, wait, we're here to have an adventure. And yeah, we start with, I'll be at peace with what is, because that's where I am right at the moment. My body's where it's at, my brain's where it's at, my emotions, my programs, my agendas, all that. But, wait, I came to have this adventure. Now, where's the adventure part of it in me? Where's the joy of it, the ease of it, the fun of it, the peace of it, the happy of it, the love in it? And it's like the rising awareness just simply begins to bring that question up in each of us more and more often. You get up in the morning and you're rushing around and it's like, oh, all right, I got to, get things done and get going, but I don't have to feel like I'm in this tornado that's got to do this and get that done before I get out of here. It's like, oh, yeah, I've got time. I can do this and I can do that. That's my adventure right now, is getting these things taken care of. So that all kind of reduces to an old teaching that I've always liked, and it's called just say yes, or say yes 100%. And it's like, okay, these kids are driving me nuts today. All right, I got a choice. I can either ship them off to be adopted, or I'm going to keep them. What's it going to be? I'll make my choice. All right, I'm going to keep them. Yes. So, if I'm going to keep them, what does this require right at the moment to bring us all back to peace? But now, instead of battling something, it shifts the mind into dealing with what is in a peaceful mode. So everything should become that one question. Do I want to eliminate it, or do I want it? And choose 100%, yes or no. All right? That's my partner. Do I want to get rid of him or her? Do I want to keep them? That's it. One or the other, 100%. And just its clarity. It brings awareness and that decision. If I make the decision, I think I'm going to keep them. All right. Now I have to accept them because I've consciously said that. I've decided. Why would I want to keep them and remain in a grievance which is going to make me miserable all the time? That would be silly. So, again, these are all things just to bring our awareness into action. But with this thing of just say yes, it also applies in the manner, yes, this is what's happening now, and I can be at peace with it. It does not mean condoning or supporting or validating what's happening. It's just, it's okay that this is happening this moment because that's what's happening. Yes, it's all right that this is here. It's all right that the boss is asking me to work over and I'm going to say no in 3 seconds. Okay, you're saying yes to what's happening. It's not about becoming a slave to the external world in any fashion. It's about not bringing up that defense, that stressful grievance against it. It's like, no, I know what they think. They always think everybody should stay and work overtime. That's okay if they think that. No. And again, it's just bringing awareness, clarity into every little moment of situation. So I'll say plug that one in for the week. And I short-circuited as just say yes. But it also means when you say yes, when there's a choice involved, make that yes 100%. And it might sound challenging or like it would be binding. The ego part of us, our person, the brain, does not like 100%. It always wants to keep some slippery room, just so it can be slippery. It doesn't know yet where it's going to get slippery, but it wants to keep a room for it in there. And if we just say yes 100% when we make a decision, it leaves us dealing from awareness and not from that program in our mind. The point is, with just saying yes 100%, I can change my mind again any second I want to. But as long as I'm doing this, I'm going to have it be 100% in my life. If I'm going to have this child, have this job, live in this house, have this car, whatever, yes. And I will attend to whatever that situation needs because I've chosen to keep this situation. And that way it gets rid of inner conflict. A part of your mind saying, well, this is pretty good, but it'd be really great if. And there it leaves room for a constant grievance to come up. And it's like, no, I chose this. This is what it is. This is the way that car is. This is the way these kids are. This is the way my partner is. This is the way my job is. And it eliminates that inner conflict, which is also a source of stress. It just simplifies everything. So play with that one and have fun watching your mind object when you remember it and somebody's really putting some energy at you you don't like, or you judge as wrong, and you'll have the memory of, oh, just say yes, it's okay that it's like that. No. Yeah. You'll see where the mind just doesn't want to go straight to, okay, that is what's happening, that's the way they are. Now, that's okay. If I can get to that's okay, now I can be in my peace and turn to my awareness and see what I really want to do with this from my intelligent awareness instead of my reactive person. So, very powerful little practice for choosing to get back to my peace very quickly in any moment. So, say yes. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's very, very powerful, because it's like you're saying yes to yourself and what you really want, and you're saying yes to being present in this moment,
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a wide spectrum powerful. It will bring up many different aspects in your mind of what that yes means. Your own awareness will put them to use. It's fun.
If you're like saying yes to saying no, it's like you're
Yeah.
doing it with that clarity
Yes.
and that peacefulness. Like, this is what I want, or this is not what I
Yeah.
want. What'd you say?
I said, yes, I'm going to tell them no.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's kind of like Dom said about dealing with his anxiety. Like, yes, I hear they're asking for that. I know I want to tell them no. I feel my anxiety or tension, and it's all okay. It's okay what they're asking. My tension's okay. No. And the clarity brings us so much power. It's amazing how much it brings. So, yeah.
I also really liked what you were saying about like the happiness and the peace, because that was like something that was really powerful for me, was when I was able to come into like a real contentment, because like for a long time in my life I felt like I was like kind of like doing this like bipolar thing where I like constantly wanted to be like on this like high of like happiness and excitement and emotion, but it's like I couldn't sustain that, and then I would kind of crash into this depression, and it was like a very powerful moment when I like started to feel myself coming down from like that, the high, the happy emotions, and I like didn't crash. I was like, you know what, I can just be at peace right now, and I'm not at this like super high happy, but that's okay. And it was very cool to be able to like just come into that sort of contentment of that peacefulness, so that's that was really cool too.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fun thing is, from that contentment or that peace, you can pop into happy again any second. I mean, I can be just like hanging around the house. I'm in that quiet contentment, and somebody calls on the phone, and in 30 seconds we're laughing and kidding and stuff, and it's like the down is not a pit that traps us. The absence of happy is not a black hole. It can just be peace when you're not on an endorphin run, It's like, yeah, it's okay just to be being for a while. Yeah. It's funny, we need to learn that.